Carlos, thank you.
Hello, fellow writers. I am Lewis. That over there is Tolkien. And also, we have a special guest who we'll introduce in a minute. But you have found the Scripturian Society.
Welcome, everybody. This is such an exciting episode.
Our first guest.
And to some of you, she will not be unfamiliar because I'm sure we have some cross traffic between the podcasts. But the other podcast I co-host, That Pretentious Book Club, with Dr. Spoons Palermo, aka Kendall Shaw, and she's the one joining us today.
Hi. Can I get a literary name too? I mean, I wouldn't be an inkling like you guys, but I would
There were other inklings.
Yeah, there were other inklings.
Oh yeah. Who are they?
The other ones? Hang on, I'm gonna look this up.
Something. Is it Bart? Barstool. That's not a name.
Would you like to be Barstool?
I'll be Barstool.
This is Dr. Barstool Palermo. Okay, the Inklings were an informal literary discussion group. By the way, fun fact, if you didn't know, listeners, it was a discussion group of some of the greatest minds at the University of Oxford. Owen Barfield.
I was close.
There's also Charles Williams. So, yeah.
They are both equally guys I don't know. So I will be Barfield.
Oh, look, there's more. Harvard David Cecil probably. Adam Fox, Hugo Dyson, J.H. Grant, Roger Lancelin Green, Robert Havard, Camille Smith, cousin of C.S. Lewis, Warren Lewis, C.S. Lewis's elder brother. I didn't know that. Nice. Christopher Tolkien, J.R.R. Tolkien's son. I think I did know that. More infrequent visitors. You could pick one of these. Percy Bates.
Because I am an infrequent visitor.
Hey, there we go. I can't pronounce that name. Colin Hardy. Gervais Matthew. I'm trying to see if I know any of these. The only one that I'm recognizing is Percy Bates.
I don't even know
Barfield
who that is.
wrote Poetic Diction, I think, which I haven't read, but I know.
So you could be Owen Barfield if you want, or you could be Lord David Cecil just because it's lord.
I'll be Lord David Cecil. That's fun.
It.
And this is Lord David Cecil joining us in today's episode.
Woohoo!
Hell yeah.
Sorry I derailed your podcast to make you give me a name.
No,
it's cool.
That's what this podcast is actually for. What else were we going to call you? Your given name?
We're writers. We know how to write, not our own names.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, Carissa, how's your week been?
Good. Let's see. I think I actually have stories this week. Okay, so first of all, social media wise, I don't know if you've noticed, but I posted a TikTok like a day ago and it is up to 450 likes.
What? Woohoo! Wait, which one? No, I didn't look at likes.
It's okay. Here's the thing. People keep commenting on the sound and they're like, oh my gosh, I love this song. And I had no idea it was actually a thing. I have no idea what it's from. I think it's from apparently Something Rotten, which is a Broadway musical.
Yes, I know all of the songs. What is it?
Okay, so it's the one that
David Cecil knows about that.
Yeah. It's some sound that's like, so you can't find the words, you're like trying to find a word.
Oh, yeah.
So I did one about that and so many people liked it. We only have like 550 followers and 450 likes on this one TikTok, which has been very gratifying, but also very confusing because I don't know what I did right. I took minimal effort with my appearance. It was like the third take I did and I was like, it's good enough. And for some reason it blew up and all the ones I put effort into are like, maybe 30. So.
God, ain't that the way it goes?
Ain't that the way? I was just telling Lord David Cecil that I'm loving this. My lord.
I love that it's the full name, not just
Lord David Cecil.
No, because we have Lewis and Tolkien and Lord David Cecil. So I was telling Lord David Cecil that this morning I posted a bunch of memes about practical magic because last week's episode on That Pretentious Book Club was, I guess technically this week's, was Magic Lessons, the prequel in the Practical Magic series by Alice Hoffman. So I put up a bunch of memes and then it got like 86 likes in like a few hours, which is pretty good. And then I posted a objectively humorous audio clip from the episode and it got like 6 likes. And I was like, you guys,
they love the memes.
They love the memes. And I'm like, this is a podcast. This is clips from the podcast, you guys. And they're like,
I think the memes
just
appeal. They appeal to everyone.
They appeal across the board. Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was funny. I thought It was specifically funny for introverts, which I know is almost all of our audience at both podcasts.
Y'all go listen to that audio clip.
Yeah.
Make Ash happy.
Yeah.
Y'all, I spent like an hour learning how to use a new software to make that audio clip.
Wow.
It's really hard.
Dedication. It's like when you spend a lot of time on a TikTok and then
Yeah.
like 12 likes.
And then it gets nothing. Then like your throwaway TikTok you made that you were like was a half-baked idea. It's like, we all love this. This is the highest of comedy.
I really think what it is that I happened to catch the sound when it was trending, but not overdone.
Yeah.
I really think that's what it is.
You hit
and
the
I
sweet
just stumble
spot.
on that. Yeah.
That's very possible.
Let's see what else happened to me this week. I went out in public, which
Oh my
is an
God. Well, that
achievement.
is a story in itself. Yeah.
I went to go. So I met one of my friends, like my only friend in town, for breakfast.
I would say, no,
And-
hang on. You can't have any other friends.
This is my in-town friend, Ash. I need at least
Okay.
one.
Yeah, this is my in town.
So we met for breakfast and she had a doctor's appointment right before. So she said, I'll text you when I'm ready. And we know how doctor's appointments go. They're always late. So I went over to the place early anyway, on like the time we had kind of tentatively agreed on.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, hey, are you on your way here or should I wander? She said, I still haven't seen the doctor, so I guess you should wander. So I literally just drove around the parking lot a few times just to like
That's how
have
you
something to do.
wander? Oh my God.
And it was a Lowe's and like another restaurant. So there was nothing
Oh,
interesting
nothing
to
to
do.
wander. You didn't want to wander through Lowe's?
So I'm wandering, and there is this point when I've wandered several times and the people on unloading the trucks are giving me these looks, and I think to myself, okay, how much do I look like a stalker or someone
Very
staking
much.
out robbing this store? And I'm like,
Very
okay,
much
I have to
both.
park. So I parked and I just sat there and listened to the radio for a while,
Mhm.
which was fine. It was good. And she only took like 15 minutes after that, but it was just really funny because I'm like, I definitely look like a stalker right now.
Hang on. So the story that you started with, I went out in public this week, was actually, I went driving around a parking lot.
I did eventually go and have breakfast, but yes.
Well, I guess that kind of counts.
I like
Kind
how
of.
the biggest part of that story was the driving around the Lowe's
I know.
parking lot. Yeah.
And you're like, and then I did have breakfast with a friend, but mostly I had to drive around a parking lot.
It was really good breakfast too. I had carrot cake and pecan pancakes.
Oh my
They were
God.
very good.
Pecan
Sounds great.
pancakes. Okay, both of my siblings insist on calling pecans pecans. And I'm like, nobody in our family calls them pecans. Where are you getting this from? And it's horrible.
I was going to say, is it like the way I pronounce aesthetic, except that is actually a valid pronunciation depending on your region. So
Well, yours at least is not a horrifying way to pronounce it. Pecan is urination in a container.
Oh my God.
Oh.
Versus pecan,
Oh my
which is
God.
a nut that is delicious and great in pies.
okay.
What if you say like pecan?
No, they say pecan. They
Yeah, but what if you
stubbornly
did?
say pecan. Pecan is weird, but fine.
I mean, I don't say that. I just was bringing up options,
Wow.
Pecan
This is an odd
the
word to
correct
Feel
pronunciation.
strongly about.
I only feel strongly about it because my siblings are over here saying like pecan, ha ha ha.
I just don't know anyone who actually, I didn't know
That's what
anyone
I'm
actually
saying.
said that. you
Some
know?
people do,
I don't
and it's
either.
my siblings. And I've tried to tell them that what you're saying is something nobody says. And they're like, everybody says it, Ash. And I'm like, nobody says it.
No, I
Oh,
disagree.
boy.
Yeah, for real. Well, do you have any other exciting stories for us from this week?
I think that was it. I know. I mean, it's not a lot, but it's two more than usual. So
It is two more than usual. Remember in college where I would save up my weird stories and then I would just
Yeah.
tell them and retell them because I would refine my delivery every time.
yes,
And I
me
was
too.
pretty sure I was going to have a career in stand-up comedy. And I was serious.
I
it's
didn't know
not too
that
late.
part, but
I did. I almost signed up I did sign up to audition for the, what was it called? It was like the open mic night thing.
yeah.
And I did sign up because you had to audition and get your act approved. And then I didn't go because I was being lazy. But I was for a time, for like a good 3 months, I was like, I'm going to use this power for good, for the best, and become a stand-up comedian. And then instead I
that's
got
ultimate good.
podcasts. For the ultimate good.
I like how you didn't pursue your stand-up comedian thing just because you're like, I don't want to.
No, I was straight up like, I'm not walking all the way over to where they're having auditions today.
like, it's
Sounds
a little
about
too
right.
much work for me right now.
Yeah, it's a little too much.
See, you could turn that into a stand-up routine too.
That was
could be
my
part
whole,
of
I
it.
just did it. That was it.
Oh yeah, there you go.
I need to refine the delivery.
You're
One hit
getting-
wonder stand-up comedian.
Yeah, exactly. I'm one of my greatest regrets in life, like sincerely, one of my greatest regrets in life is that I deleted the note in my phone where I had down written the stories from college that were some of my best,
Why
like
did you
highest
delete
engagement
that?
stories.
Nice.
Because I wasn't going to be a stand-up comedian, I guess, anymore.
my
I don't know. No, I think I deleted it
You're
because I
officially
was
giving
like,
up.
well, no, it's because you think after telling them 1 million times for refinement, I was like, I will never forget these
Yeah,
stories.
Right.
I've
Good.
forgotten almost all of the stories.
Yep.
Yeah,
You have to do
yeah.
it constantly or else you'll
Yeah.
totally forget.
But
It's
then
true.
everyone was like, stop telling us the same stories, Ash, or we were there for this, Ash. And so
You did that to me a lot. You'd be like, so this one time I was like, Ash, I was literally there.
I know, but then you would just let me keep telling the story, which was excellent. Marianne would be like, girl, stop it. And I'd be like, okay.
it's so awkward whenever you realize you've already told somebody something and you're like, okay, should I keep going, like double
Right.
down, or like what's
The
the
situation you're
protocol?
describing is 99% of my interactions. I'm pretty much
Poor
reliving the
Ash.
same 5 moments of my life over and over.
Oh my
and over.
gosh. Okay, so last night, because apparently I have more stories, I had a dream about Qdoba,
Mhm.
like where we used
Yeah,
to get food all the
yes.
time.
I used to work there.
And the crux of this dream was that I went with a random friend who I literally have not seen since middle school. And we walked in and she was like, oh, this line is too long. And I was like, there's literally one person ahead of us. There's one person. She's
That's
like,
hobby.
I'm gonna go somewhere else. I'm like, there's no possibility of fewer people in a line.
That is so funny.
And I don't know why, but I thought of you.
It's because I used to work at Qdoba, and
Qdoba,
for
yeah.
a while after I quit, I refused to go in, and I referred to it only as the gates of hell. And we would walk past it, and I'd be like, the gates of hell. Who wants to eat anywhere else?
I had to go either with Marianne or with my social friend.
Yeah. So wild that you had other friends in college.
I had an extrovert friend. I had an extrovert friend, Ash, singular.
I don't know. I still don't buy it. I never met this person. So
You're making them up. That's how I used to feel about Subway. After I stopped working at Subway, I like didn't go to Subway for like a full year and a half.
uh-huh.
Also, my friend Sabrina used to work at Forever 21 and she calls it Forever Hell. And every time I'm passing it, I'm like, hey, Forever Hell. Like that's my name for it now.
I love that so much.
Though I worked at a Barnes and Noble once and I liked it there and I still won't go back because I don't want to
no.
see
Yeah.
people I know.
That's funny. That makes sense.
See, that's how I was with Michael's, but then now
Mhm.
enough time has passed that there's only like 2 people there that are the same. So.
Yeah,
Right.
see, if it was a high turnover place, no one will recognize you. Like the
It's true.
Qdoba was that they opened on campus. I worked there like for the opening of the Qdoba. So I was with the first round of employees and we were all the only ones to work there. And we were like the highest grossing Qdoba in the nation or something because it was on we're on a
Yeah.
walking college campus. So
Yep.
well, there's only like 2 or 3 other places to get like hot food on campus.
It's true. Was
and
that
the
freshman
food
year?
admittedly was good. That I believe was freshman year.
Yeah.
yes.
So there were even fewer food options then.
Yes, exactly. Because then after that, they opened up a bunch of food options. Every
Mm-hmm.
time they tried to open up a healthy food option, though, it lasted like top 6 months, maximum 6 months.
College students, hello.
We are not your market.
No.
There was one, what was it called? The name of it sounded like slime and their logo was green. So we only exclusively called it Slimes and never went to Slimes.
I don't
See,
even
would go to
remember
Slimes all the time just because I wanted to go.
Well, it got replaced with a wings place and we went there a lot.
Oh yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yep. Anyway, what are your
college.
stories from this week? Those are all college stories. What
Um,
about recently?
I'm trying to think if I have any stories. My cat almost killed herself this morning just to make me feel bad for yelling at her half an hour before.
Flora.
Flora. She's fine. She is currently laying on Spoons' notebook because she is so attached to Kendall now. It is so funny.
We're besties.
They're besties.
That's
She only
cool.
acts good for Kendall and then for my husband.
She's my little familiar.
She is your familiar.
She needs someone now
I
that
have
Hobby's like
nothing.
away. So
Yeah, exactly. It can't be me who, feeds her and is here
Right.
for her and takes care of her. Big yawn. She's like, ugh, stop talking about it. Yeah, I don't think I have any stories really.
this is a
I went-
strange twist of events. Anyway,
I know.
Kendall, tell us your stories.
Freaky Friday. but it's
Okay,
a
I have
Tuesday.
one story. I went to a Old West murder mystery party.
Oh, that's right. Yes, talk
What?
about this.
That is the
I saw the
coolest story
pictures.
already.
On Saturday.
They're adorable. I know she topped us. It's because she's social.
I was like,
She
I went
has-
out this
I am
week. And she's like,
technically an
I went to a murder
extrovert.
mystery.
I believe
I
I am
believe
an
it.
extrovert.
I believe you are too, but it's so weird because if I didn't know you really well, I wouldn't have known.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. So I don't know if that even counts.
I
But
think it
labels
does.
don't mean anything anyway. So
Or
I don't
are
know.
you an extroverted introvert or an introverted extrovert? Because apparently those are terms now. I
Well,
don't know
I've
what they
heard
mean.
I've heard that if
Uh,
you can't tell, it means someone is a healthy extrovert or introvert because like they do well
Oh.
in other scenarios. So like if you're an extrovert,
So you're
that
just a
people
healthy
can't tell.
person.
No.
Yeah, you use your social time well enough that you're not weird when you're alone. So
Nice.
people don't
Oh,
notice. Or something like that.
interesting.
So it's just a healthy thing.
Wow,
I've
love
heard.
knowing that about me. The
Loving
one thing I'm
that about
succeeding
me.
at.
Nice.
Yeah, it was fun. My character was named Belle Bandit, and
Nice.
Who was the murderer?
my mom.
Oh my God, really?
Nice.
Yeah, it was a birthday party for like a church family friend.
That is so cute.
So like my whole family was there,
Mhm.
and my mom was the murderer.
That is
It
so
was so
funny.
fun. Yeah.
I think I
That's
already said this,
awesome.
but on the other podcast, but I had a murder mystery party for my 16th birthday and my sister was the victim. So it was awesome.
Were you the murderer?
Yeah.
No, I actually don't remember who the murderer was. Wait, do I remember who the murderer was? I think it might have been the wolf. I was Little Red Riding Hood.
Oh,
I was gonna say,
might
that's
have
not
been
a
the wolf.
it
person.
was fairy tale.
But it was a fairy tale themed murder
Yeah,
that's
mystery.
cute.
Yeah.
Got it.
I have
Got it.
I currently have a murder mystery party box game that I believe I was given for Christmas years ago called Pasta, Passion, and Pistols.
I literally cannot
love
wait to
that.
play this.
I'm kind of thinking this should be because I haven't done anything for my birthday really in years. I'm not good at doing stuff for my birthday, but I'm kind of thinking if I can get like 8 or 9 people together,
Yes,
we can do this. So Carissa, would you
I
like
was
to
just-
come to my murder mystery birthday party?
I would love to.
yes. Come,
Oh my
Carissa.
God.
I want
this
to
is
so
excellent.
bad now.
They all have like fun names like Franny Fettuccine and stuff.
God, I want to be Franny Fettuccine.
I love fettuccine.
See, we're just gonna have it's a dinner party murder game. So it's just gonna be eating pasta and talking about
This-
murder in like
sounds like
a New York accent.
God,
Sounds
I
like my
can't wait to
favorite
go
thing
to this
ever.
murder game.
No,
I
I
can't
can't wait for the
Hey.
murders to start.
We're gonna
Am I
eat some
doing it?
pasta and have a murder. I don't know. I can't do an accent.
That's pretty much
Yeah,
it.
I will not be attempting one, but
But you'll come.
maybe.
See,
I
look
hate
at that. Look how she
committing.
won't
Commit
commit.
to
I
something.
hate
I'm
6 months
flashing
in
back to
advance. Do it now.
college.
Do
I
it now. Do it
know.
now.
She pretty much exclusively answers maybe when you ask her to do
I don't
things.
like
the
being
safest
trapped.
answer.
I'm not trying to trap you. I'm trying to love you.
Same thing.
Anyway, so I'm gonna mark
Anyway.
you as a yes. I'm gonna. I'll take
You
that
are
as a
gonna be Franny Fettuccine.
RC
Yeah.
yes. You already have the character, and there's a finite number of characters in the game, so you have to show up, or it'll ruin everything.
Yeah, so no pressure, but
see.
you do have to come now.
Yeah, no
You
pressure.
have
Yeah,
already
what if the
committed.
murderer didn't show up?
That actually
That would be
happened
weird.
at the one I went to on Saturday. The person who was chosen as the murderer like was really late, and
Oh
so
my God.
they had to like pick a new person.
That is so funny. I kind of love that.
Yeah, it was funny.
That's so funny.
Nice.
Well, you'd better come in case you're the murderer.
Okay.
Also, because wouldn't you love to be the murderer? Isn't that totally your
Yes.
vibe?
I
Yes,
absolutely
Yes.
would. I think I would be really good at covering because I'm so innocent.
you would. Catherine would
people
just
wouldn't
fully
believe me.
take over.
You
Yeah.
remember? Okay, I'm going to tell another story from college. Do you remember when we played Body Body at Dean's house?
Yes.
And there was that one round where it was me, you, and Michael at the
Uh-huh.
end.
yes.
And you both decided that I was not the murderer, and you were both like,
No, we were like, Carissa would
it's
never.
her, it's him. And you looked so desperate for me to
was-
pick you.
So does because basically it was like they were like it was either Mike or Ash. One of them's the murderer.
Yeah.
And I thought it was Mike for certain.
I know you
Yeah.
both were like, it's not Carissa. Well, obviously. So anyway,
Yeah.
you were so desperate for me to pick you that I started to second guess myself. I was like, this is absolutely what a murderer would do.
I am so
Oh my
freaking
God.
convincing.
But
was so
eventually I chose you because I didn't want people to think I had a crush on Michael. But it turned out okay because it was him. He was the murderer. So it worked
That is
out.
so funny. I
Oh.
just saw a picture of Mike like the other day. I was looking back at pictures on Facebook, and there's a
Mhm.
picture of him like throwing like peace signs in the corner of a photo while me and Marianne looked just like extremely unhappy to be there.
Incredible.
Yes.
And this was like hours before, it was at Lisa's wedding. This was like hours before Mike got really, really drunk and accidentally shoved me over on the dance floor. And strangers caught me because my shoe was caught in a crack. And I was like, yeah, interesting.
Oh my God.
That was my last memory of Mike. He felt very
Oh.
badly and he gave me a hug that never ended.
Wow. This
He's
one's
still
for
hugging me
Mike.
to this day.
Mike was such a hoot. God, our college group was pretty wild. Well,
I
here's the
know.
problem with games like Body is that it's the same problem I have when I like watch intense movies or read books. I totally forget what's reality and what's not.
I could
So my
tell.
desperation was truly,
Yep.
these people are going to think that I'm a
You're like-
real life
Well,
murderer.
I think you said to me, you're like, I was worried that if you voted me off, then Mike was going to be able to kill you. And I'm like,
That's
I
what I was-
understand, but also
I
it's a
was
game.
so scared. No, I was straight up like, here's the problem. If they all think I'm the murderer, I die. Mike lives and kills Carissa.
And I'm alone with him.
Yeah. So I was just like, you can't do this, Carissa. I'm trying to save you.
Oh my
Yep.
God.
Those games are very intense. So anyway, the murder mystery birthday is going to be spectacular.
Sounds
God, I can't wait.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
What's
you wanna-
next on the
do you want
outline?
to tell us what the word of the week is?
Yes.
Word
Okay,
of the
so
week.
Ooh,
I
okay, that was a
picked-
good tag.
Well, that's good. So like get that clip.
I know I
and
need
use
to take that out and then we'll just word of the week.
Okay, so I
Word
picked,
of the week. Yeah. That's
Ooh,
that one.
it was really good. Wait, let's all be
Try a few
quiet. I'm
more.
going to pull it from the, ready? Okay, go for it.
Well, now I got to think of a new one. Or word of the week.
Beautiful.
I
Excellent.
love it.
I will clip it from the episode and use it from now.
Oh, Lord Almighty.
Every time it'll introduce the segment. Okay. So I
Exactly.
picked as Halloween a word as I could find because
Mm.
I think this episode will be coming out like a couple days before Halloween.
It will be,
Um,
yes. This is our Halloween episode, technically.
Spooky,
Yeah.
scary Halloween. Go.
I'm pretty sure I know how to say this. Eldritch.
I know
Eldritch.
this
This one?
word.
I know
I think
this
it's a
from
more
Dungeons
common.
Do you know from Dungeons and Dragons too?
Yeah, probably, yes.
Okay.
I don't. Okay. Eerie, spooky, uncomfortably weird, ghostly, or sinister. Sound very
I love
Halloween.
it.
I love it.
I
Use it in a
know.
sentence.
These Halloween decorations are very Eldritch. Is that correct?
Ooh, I like it.
I like that
I
I'm
like it
asking
very
you. This is
much.
my one job. This
Spell
is my
it, spell
baby.
it.
Eldritch.
Incredible.
Incredible. You delivered that like a spelling bee winner.
I also read it. It's an easy word to spell, and I had to look down. So, I mean, less impressive than you would think.
You're
but still.
making sure. You're just
Isn't
double
there
checking.
Eldritch
Hmm.
something or other?
It's
It's
like the Eldritch horror or something. That's what I'm thinking of.
from Dungeons and Dragons.
I don't know. I just have that phrase in my head.
And there's an Eldritch something or other that I said. I mean, there's Eldritch a lot of things. A lot of things in
Yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons are Eldritch. One could say.
Mhm.
But this is the
Read.
Eldritch season also.
Yeah, that's a good one. An Eldritch
The
book,
Eldritch.
potentially. Or
Yeah, Magic Lessons was an Eldritch book. Well, it wasn't super spooky. It was a little
No,
bit
it wasn't.
spooky. But
Oh,
not really.
Eldritch horror is a game. That's what I'm thinking of.
Oh.
It's a game of terror and adventure.
Aha.
Love it.
Ooh.
Just as my birthday party will be.
because you handle terror so well.
We know I don't get too invested at all.
No.
I'm gonna be like, let me save you, Franny Fettuccine. I'm gonna be like literally crying through dinner. Yeah.
I
Would be
know
really
who
funny.
did the terrible deed. It was you, Peter Pesto. It's gonna be incredible.
Peter
No.
Pesto.
What would be hilarious is if you were the murderer and you're like, guys, it's me. Don't go anywhere alone with me. Because I
No,
could see
I'd be
you doing
like,
that.
I'm so sorry for what is about to happen.
as you
I
stab
would be
someone.
so upset. I never, ever, ever wanted to get murdered. Like when you play Mafia in those games, I never wanted to be the murderer. Ever, ever, ever.
The lines between reality and fiction blurred for you too much.
They are so blurred for me. Like always. Like today, I'll go ahead and do my writing update for myself right now because it's
Okay.
relevant. I am only 40 pages away from totally finishing editing my Alien book again.
Yay.
But because I was doing that I was so focused on it for so long that all of a sudden when I got a phone call, I looked at my phone and I didn't recognize the phone. And I didn't recognize the name on the phone. And I was like so confused right now. I had to like
Oh my God.
pull myself back out of the book and be like, my name is Ash. I live in Texas. I have a family member calling me. Oh, it's a sister. I have my sister calling me. Not to like.
Oh my God.
This
Like,
is why
my name is Maddie.
exactly. So this is also why like people sometimes get exasperated with me when I'm like, no, you don't understand. I'm in a very fragile place. I cannot watch an intense movie. Is because it is too real. So on top of my like standing fragility and then watching the intense thing, I'm like, there's no difference. This is my real life.
Mhm.
I'm sorry I
Intense
made you
place to
read
be.
Lord of the Flies this week.
Yes, exactly.
While I was
That's
reading it, I was
calm.
like, oh dang, Ash is gonna hate this. Ash hates this.
Not to like spoilers for that episode, but yeah.
I love
Me-
Lord of the Flies.
See, me too.
I'm not
like,
at all
hell
surprised.
yes.
You guys have a strong touch of the sociopath in you.
No, I just intense things like media like that does not affect me the same way at all. In fact, it's more of like, oh, it's an escape for me because it's like a different problem that's like worse. So that it makes my stuff feel way better, you know?
Fair.
I'm just like, oh, a new problem for me. Oh God. Well, do you have any book recommendations this week?
I do. I came out of my reading slump. Yay.
Oh, goody.
I have a lot. Okay.
You're a reading slump. By the way, you still read a book when you said you were in a reading slump.
I know. It was at the beginning of the week. And then by the end of the week, I had hit the reading slump. So anyway.
I can't with you.
So I read these books. So the first one is called Grim Lovelies. Have you guys heard of that?
Ooh, no.
It's by Megan Shepherd. And it's a duology there too. And it's a retelling of Cinderella technically, but
Ooh.
from the perspective of like the mice that turn into humans.
What?
Yeah. So
I
it's
did
like,
not see that coming.
I know.
Neither.
So the premise of the story is that witches exist and they're kind of like secretly in control of everything. And this witch has these 5 servants that were animals that she turned into humans to work for her. And one of them is the maid. She's a Cinderella character.
Uh-huh.
And I don't want to spoil too much, but essentially they're going to be turned back into animals. So, and they don't want that. So they're like racing against the clock to not turn back by midnight. So it's kind of an interesting take on the Cinderella thing.
Ooh,
That's fun.
that
It
is
was very
so
cool.
interesting. That is so original.
Yeah, I never would have thought to
In
do
this
that.
day and age
Yes.
when all the kids are doing fairy tale retellings,
Mhm.
it is
It's
so
very
rare.
unique.
It is
Also,
super unique.
I met Megan Shepherd once, which was awesome because so Tucson has this festival of books every year. And
Oh,
up
that's
until
right.
COVID, I think I had attended almost every year. I think I only missed like one or
Guys,
two.
I've never gone to a book festival.
It's
or
so
a writing con.
fun.
We're gonna go to the Texas Book Festival next year.
When is
Do
it?
it.
It's like it just happened, so it's like a whole year from now. But
Just
we'll do
I
it.
missed
So
it.
awesome.
Carissa, you're
They're
coming
so
too.
fun.
I'm not going to ask
Okay.
because you'll say maybe. So I'm just going to tell you that you're coming too.
Okay. But anyway, I met Megan Shepherd because I was volunteering and my job was essentially to like gauge the audience interaction and attendance at certain panels. And before the panel,
Interesting.
they were still setting up. And so she and the other 2 authors on the panel like came to sit with me and the other volunteers. And I had an actual conversation with them. It was so cool.
Oh my
Incredible.
God, that's amazing.
And she was
You guys
talking
have
about these
author
books.
stories. I don't, man.
It was so great.
That's
That's
wild.
amazing.
Yes. So I like her
That's so
writing.
cool.
I think these were my favorite books that she's written. I've read, I think 3 or 4 kind of things that she's written. So I like her. She's pretty good. I
Nice.
also read another Darcy Coates book, which I talked about, I think a couple episodes ago. She's like a horror writer.
Uh-huh.
And
Oh.
I don't
An
read a lot of
Eldritch
horror.
writer, if you will.
Yes, exactly. I don't read a lot of those. And so I don't know how to gauge it, but I think I like her. And here's why. Without spoiling too much, she writes really creepy horror stories with happy endings. So I don't have
Oh.
nightmares.
I could do that. I could
Yeah.
do that. I would just,
So-
I'd have to read it all in one sitting, but I could do that.
Yes. And that's what I did. So I'm like halfway through the book, I was really creeped out and really scared. And then I got to the end and I was like, hey, I think I could go to sleep right now. Everything is fine. So
Woohoo.
I like that.
What book was
Um,
this?
Oh, so it was called The Caro Haunt.
The Caro Haunt.
Yeah. And it was kind of like the classic, like, group of people go to stay in a haunted house for a couple
Oh my
weeks and they
God,
get trapped.
incredible.
It was so good.
The best genre. Sorry,
Yes.
gotta make the rules. Best genre.
I agree. Um, so I really liked it. And there were a lot of twists and turns because at one point they're like, maybe it's not a ghost. Maybe there's someone else here with us. So you're like, okay, is this a serial killer book? Is this a ghost book? I don't know. So
Wait,
it was
I'm
very
gonna
cool.
read this.
Wow,
I'm totally
I'm
gonna read this.
stressed
It was
out
pretty
just
good.
hearing that.
Sounds
Wow.
amazing.
So I read that. And then
Carol.
I just finished today the Hawthorne Legacy, which is the sequel to the Inheritance games, which I don't know if you guys heard of it, but it's
I've
really
heard of
good.
Inheritance games. Yes.
Okay. And I loved it. So I was very satisfied with the ending. And
Nice.
it was really fun. So
God, I love that.
I would
Cool.
recommend all of these.
Wow. I would recommend my book recommendation is Magic Lessons. It's the book we did for that pretentious book
It's
club.
so
last week,
good. I
or guess
really
this
loved
week.
it.
But yeah,
I
we think
ordered
we both
it.
gave it 5 pinkies
We
up.
did,
so.
yeah.
You ordered it?
It's on the way.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll get here by Halloween, but it is on the way.
It is. It's okay. When I read it, it wasn't even. I think it was like the summertime or something when I read it.
Hmm.
But it is so good, and the ending is so satisfying, and it is like, it is the best of the Practical Magic series in my opinion by far. So strong.
I didn't think
recommend.
it was going to end well, and it does.
And it does.
It's a great ending.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. It's a good
Yeah.
one. Do you have any
Yeah.
book recommendations aside from that one?
Well, Lord of the Flies, if you haven't read it, you should read it. Unless you're
Absolutely.
like Ash. But
Second
I
don't.
also, when you were talking, Carissa, it made me think of this Cinderella retelling that I
Yeah.
read like months ago for one of
Mhm.
my classes last semester. And it's called Ash, and it's by Melinda
Yeah.
Lowe. Have you read
Heard of
it?
I haven't read it, but I've heard of it.
It's like older. It's like
Wait,
kind of
hang
one
on,
of the
hang
like
on, hang on.
more. It's from like the late thousands.
Cinderella is my favorite. And there's a book with my name
Ah,
that's a
yes.
retelling.
It's amazing. Here, let me tell you what it is. It's like she's Cinderella, her name's
Uh-huh.
Ash, and it's like a lesbian romance with like the king's like huntswoman.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, I
she's-
think you have told me
yeah.
about this. I think you have.
She's yeah, anyway, it's freaking incredible.
I think you did tell me about this.
It's so good.
I didn't realize it was a Cinderella retelling.
It
though.
is, yeah.
Oh my God.
And there's fairies in it. There's like
Ooh.
cool like fairy magic and like but they're kind of more like, you know, not like little fairies, like big fairies.
I
Like
love
the
that so
fae
much.
fairies?
Like fae.
Like the fae?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, that's exciting. So, do we have any more book recommendations? Is that it?
I'm good. I mean, I have a lot, but I could keep going, so that's
Yeah,
fine.
you just recommended Lord of the Flies, so you've kind of lost your book recommending privileges.
I'm sorry that you're the only one in this group who doesn't like Lord of the
Yeah,
Flies.
you're the minority here.
Laura, what do you think? Sleeping, right when I need her.
Laura doesn't count. She's too Eldritch.
No,
I don't know.
She is Eldritch.
Trying to
You're
slip it
right.
in.
she is Eldritch. Okay, well, how about this? Do you want to introduce the theme of the week, Carissa, and explain why our special girl Kendall is here to
All right,
join
well,
us? for
I am
this
actually
very
not
simple
100% sure why she's here, but I love it, so I'm not complaining. But
Me either. I just know she has an into this world that we don't have.
oh, it's true. Okay, so we are going to be talking about
This is like the most embarrassing thing in the world. You know that?
you consented to be here.
I know.
You consented.
I did consent. I'm just like the fact that like I'm the expert is embarrassing. You know, that's what.
Our resident expert.
Yeah, just tell them
On-
what it is.
Fan fiction.
An
Yeah.
episode all about fan fiction, and we needed an expert because I know Carissa knows a little bit about it. I know absolutely nothing about it, and Kendall knows quite a bit more about it than we do.
Yes, but not even nearly as much as some people.
No, I know
So-
you're not like you're not like fan fiction obsessed. Like you don't spend like a ton of time on it, but of the three of us, you definitely know the
Mhm.
most about it.
Yes, I do have some anecdotes. I
My
suppose.
sister wanted me to tell one of her anecdotes about this, so you
Okay.
can preempt any of your embarrassment with this. You know that Disney XD show Kickin' It?
Oh my god! Oh my
No.
god! Please tell me more.
Well, there is a Disney XD show that was called Kickin' It. Isn't it the one about the kids in the karate
Yeah, it's
dojo?
like a karate thing.
Yes. So basically, my sister really got into some fan fiction about it.
Oh
And
no.
she said, you have to be careful because you can slip so quickly down the smutty hole. And
Yep.
there's a scary amount of like smut about
Oh
the Kickin' It show.
Ugh.
Explicit kicking it fan fiction. Oh my god!
Okay, in my
Exactly.
limited experience with fan fiction, the more innocent the original material, the worse it gets.
So right.
You're like, really? This went this far?
One time I was with some friends and my friend Nick was like, I don't know what we were doing really, but we were like, let's just like look for the weirdest fan fiction we can find because it's always like really funny. And he was like, I wonder if there's Backyardigans fan fiction. Of
You
course
comment.
there is. It is
so weird.
shockingly explicit.
Like,
Like
I can't. It's so funny.
it's
Oh
terrible.
my gosh.
Terrible.
Well, do
It's
one of
awful.
y'all want to give a definition of what fan fiction is in case any of our listeners are not 100% clear on it?
Yeah, Kendall, go.
Okay, well, I have nothing prepared, but I can
Baton
wing
has been
it.
passed. Yeah, wing it.
Fan fiction is when you take like an existing piece of media, an existing piece of fiction, like a book or a movie or a TV show or whatever, and then somebody writes like fake scenarios about it or like retellings or whatever, and then shares it. And that's
Like
fan fiction.
non-canon stuff.
Yeah,
essentially.
non-canon.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So
Yep.
this is some
Yep.
just to like start it out. I have been hearing this a lot on the social media that I'm now involved in. That a lot of writers use fan fiction to kind of hone their writing skills because the characters and the world already exist. So they only have to focus on writing and plot and that kind of stuff.
I've
So that
heard
was an
that too.
interesting take. And I think if I was really honest about it, that's what I did. I just didn't know that it was a thing other people did because the first thing that I wrote was this very obscure Harry Potter fan fiction that like did not resemble Harry Potter in any way except the magic system. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
that's a
I
fan fiction,
wrote-
yeah, right?
I like had a document and I had like books planned out for it until I finally was like, this is straight up plagiarism. So I should probably come up with another idea.
Oh, that's
my
so
God.
funny.
And I didn't know it was a thing that other people did. I thought this was
Yeah.
unique to me. And then
Yeah.
I grew up and I was like, hey, other people seem to also have thoughts about books. So
What is that? What's
Wait a
what
minute.
that famous book that was made off of fan fiction?
50 Shades of
There are
Grey.
many.
50 Shades of Grey. Wasn't that was a fan fiction,
Twilight.
It's a
right?
Twilight fan fiction,
Of
technically.
Twilight?
Yeah.
But it
Okay.
got famous.
Yes,
Yeah.
there's a couple like that. Did you
So-
know that the Mortal Instruments
That's
is
what I was
a
gonna say.
There you go.
I didn't know that. I saw a video
Wait,
about
what?
it recently. I was like, what?
Yeah,
is
but
that?
Cassandra Clare apparently originally like wrote some Mortal Instruments stuff as like a Draco Hermione fan fiction. But people get so bent up about that, and I'm like, okay, shut up. It's a good
I'm-
series.
Yeah, it's a good
I'm
series.
gonna
I don't
say
know
it.
why you
First
get
of all-
bent out of shape about it.
When I was a tween, I was really into the Draco Hermione thing. Don't know why. I don't know where it came from.
And you.
I didn't read fan fiction, so it did not come from other people. It came from me.
That is so funny.
And second of all, I do think even with 50 Shades of Grey, which I have not read, but with Cassandra Clare and everything, if you change enough details and if it has changed enough from the source material, it does eventually kind of morph into your own work. It's
Oh,
just
yeah.
that you use that original world to practice.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
I've mixed feelings about, but generally seems legitimate. They're
I
not-
think
I
so.
have no idea why people would be upset that that's how it started, because like the Mortal Instruments as it is now is so nothing like
So
Harry
different.
Potter, really,
Yeah,
or
if
like
it's-
Draco and Hermione.
Yeah, when it's not even recognizable like in the same universe anymore, it's its
Mhm.
own thing. Yeah.
I recently
agree.
went. Can I tell you this, guys? I went. Okay,
well, you're gonna
Haley
say
You have to tell us
I-
first.
have seen every single one of the after movies.
Oh,
I think I made you watch them the first one.
I've seen
it's
YouTube videos
that-
about them.
Terrible Harry Styles fan fiction that was
Mhm.
like they became books. They were first on Wattpad.
You
and then they
did
became
make me
books.
watch this.
And now they're
we were
movies.
making pies, and you were
We were
like,
making pies at your house.
we were having a pie day.
Yes. And it's not that I like them. I just love watching the movies because they're so terrible and so funny. I'm obsessed with them. So Haley and I have seen every single one of them. I mean, there's only 3, but we've watched them all, which
It
is
was like the
significant. I
old.
feel.
What I remember about it was like the ultimate like teen romance movie, like the ultimate
But-
teen feeling romance.
Sort of, but
movie.
it's like technically new adult, I guess, because
Yeah,
they're
it's
in
older.
college
yeah.
and they have so much sex.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like shocking.
It's what I would expect
Shockingly
from a fan
explicit.
fiction.
It is shockingly explicit.
It's exactly what I would expect from a fan fiction, but on the screen.
Yeah.
Is what it was.
I mean, I have to admit, I did read like half of the first book on
Uh-huh.
like in fan fiction form just because I was
Mhm.
curious whenever it started becoming like a book series.
yeah.
And it was so funny, like going through it, because people in the comments were so into it. They're like, guys, no spoilers for the first time readers. These people had read it like 8 times. And I love that for them. It wasn't really for me, but I do think it's funny and I like it for them. The book, now I'm like really grateful for it, honestly, because the movies are so funny that I feel like it's the gift that keeps on giving, you know? Although I do feel like my main problem is I hate fan fiction that is about real people.
I
so
feel weird about that.
That's like weird, right?
It's because I wouldn't like to see it about me. Like, I don't want to see any fan fiction about me.
Yeah, I just imagine.
Can you imagine if somebody wrote fan fiction about us in our podcast?
Please never do that.
Actually, I want that.
I
don't.
A very dark part of me wants to know what would happen, but I suspect I know what would happen.
I know it so quickly goes in that direction. Please don't do that to me.
Eventually, there's only one primary direction that it's gonna move.
That's kind of the outlet, you know. It's like people. A lot of fan fiction is just very horny. Like that's the whole vibe.
It is the whole thing,
and that's fine. Do your thing. But that is the vibe.
I mean, I think the first time I ever sought out fan fiction and knew what it was, and learned what it was, and it's only been once that I have, was because I don't even remember what book it was. Maybe it was Percy Jackson, maybe not.
Oh no.
I remember there was 2 characters that I really wanted to fall in love. But there was no indication of it yet in the book. So I was like, I want to see more of their relationship. And I couldn't, and because that wasn't written yet. And I don't remember if it was that or another book, but I did find fan fiction of their relationship. But it was a middle grade. So luckily the fan fiction I came across was not explicit. It was just more like about their relationship and stuff, and they kissed and stuff, and it was so sweet, and I was so satisfied. I was like, this is exactly what I wanted. Yes.
That's amazing.
That is so rare for you.
Yeah, you had a great experience.
I know, I had a great experience, but then I never ever went back to fan fiction. I was like, I got the answer I wanted about this specific book series, and I've never had that question since then.
Okay, so my experience with fan fiction, I only read one kind of fan fiction, and that is Sisters Grimm fan fiction. And I think at the time that I read it, I think I read every single fan fiction that there was on it.
That is amazing.
So I started reading it. I don't even remember when the books came out. I must have been, it was late middle school or early high school, and book 5 was out, and book 6 hadn't come out yet. There are 9 books, and I finished book 5, and I was like, I'm gonna die if I don't get more. So I went online to get every scrap of information you can possibly have about the book.
I think that's how a lot of us find fan fiction. We're just like, I will die, I need more of this, and it's not there.
So I stumbled upon some kind of fan fiction thing, did not know it existed, and I assumed that it was canon. And so I was reading it, and I was like, this is weird. This doesn't seem right. And then I noticed, fan fiction website, and I was like, what's this? And I went down the rabbit hole. And I think I read every single piece out there. It's a middle grade series. It went real far. I was like, I don't want this, but I did find this one story, the title of which I cannot remember, and I can no longer find it on fanfiction.org or whatever it is. It was this 50 chapter long epic story based on the characters in the Sisters Grimm. It was so good, and I loved it so much. And I wish that I had saved it somehow, because I would love to read it. But I also wonder if the creators made it different enough that now they're trying to publish it as their own thing, because I do think so. If they changed enough of the names and changed enough of the world, I think they could, because it really just took the characters and ran with it. And I loved it so much. And so every once in a while I see a book blurb that's kind of similar to that, and I get all excited, and then it's not it. So I'm just waiting for that to be actually published one day. And that's why I think it can be useful to do fan fiction, because not only is it good for readers, but I think it's a good way to hone skills.
I think so too. I mean,
I don't know that fan fiction in and of itself is good writing, but I think it's a good way to hone skills, if that makes sense.
It totally depends though on the level of quality in fan fiction. It's like it could not
There's
be
a
bigger
wide range.
Yes.
And so it's like you really have to know how to use the filters and stuff. Now I'm exposing myself. But yes, I've read fan fiction a lot.
Okay, she's like, I know how to use the filters, you guys.
Ash and I are like, we read one kind of fan fiction. Kendall's like, I've read it all.
Like there are filters.
Well, I mean, y'all know I've written fan fiction, right? Okay.
No.
So
About
I
what?
have,
You moved past that too quickly. Tell us
Like,
all
let's move
about
on.
it.
Like, back it up.
Okay, might as well. It's all out there now. Okay, so I have written the first fan fiction that I ever posted on art. So okay, there's basically like, I guess 3 kind of big fan fiction websites: Wattpad or Wattpad. I don't know. I don't use that one.
Wattpad.
Wattpad.
I started writing a book that was not fan fiction on Wattpad.
Yeah,
because
because Wattpad is different because a lot of people will also just use it to like put
Mhm.
their own stuff out there.
yeah, there's a series of like crime thrillers by God, what is her name? Natalie Preston, I think. I think that's her book, Awake. She's got a bunch of books, but they were all Wattpad books first.
Yeah.
Anyways,
now Wattpad is like publishing them some more. So
Yeah.
like, I think that After kind of like kicked that off actually.
Yeah.
So Wattpad, and then fanfiction.net.
Yeah.
Or
That's one
fanfiction.org.
I've used. I think it's
Yes.
net. I think you're right.
That's the oldest one, I believe.
Mhm.
And then Archive of Our Own, but people call it AO3.
Okay.
And so
she knows so much.
Just the lingo.
people like to say like AO3 is the only place to go, but fanfiction.net has some gems. I've just got to say.
That's the
So-
only place I go.
I love
I-
how much
Place
you
I know.
I'm really exposing myself.
Go on.
So,
Got it. So AO3.
yeah, so
The only place to
I
go.
have had an AO3 account for a while.
I'm so glad to know this.
The first fan fiction that I ever read, I believe, was a Lord of the Rings fan fiction that was literally just like Shire domestic fluff. Like that is
Uh-huh.
literally what it was.
There's
It
absolutely
was
no shame
like,
in that.
look at Merry and Pippin's cute families.
Right.
Well,
They're
that's
gonna
all
go
we
on
want.
vacation. And I was like, this is the
Aw.
best thing I've ever read.
Yeah.
So innocent.
And that was, I think, the first fan fiction I ever read.
Uh-huh.
It was on
That's
fan fiction.
precious.
And then the first fan fiction I ever wrote and like put online was a
On AO3.
on AO3 was a very short, like it's called a one shot. It means it's like
Mhm.
doesn't have
I know what
any
that
commas.
means.
Yeah. Hey, I
okay.
know what that means too. It's somewhere in the recesses of my
Yeah.
memory. I retained that.
It was a far and away one shot. Far and away me being the 1992 Tom Cruise Nicole Kidman Irish saga movie. And
So obscure. How old were you?
I was in high school for sure.
Uh-huh.
Actually, somebody left kudos on it today. I saw on my email. So
Wow.
yeah,
Amazing.
people every now and then will just, find the old ones. So anyway,
They're
that
like,
was
this
my
is the
first
best
one.
thing we've ever read. Thank you for giving this
One
to
time
us.
somebody tracked me down on Instagram and commented on one of my Instagram posts and was like, "Hi, I just found your fan fiction and I really liked it. The Far and
Wow.
Away one. Are you going to write any more of them?" And I was like, "Thank you for this. I do have to delete your comment because now everyone knows that I wrote a Far and Away fan fiction. Thank you."
Oh my
so much."
gosh.
Thank you for your interest. No.
Yeah, exactly. So I had to delete it.
That's so they wanted more. They were
have-
begging for
they
more.
were
That's a good sign.
asking. I have also, this is gonna quickly spiral. Sorry,
That's
you
what we're here
guys.
for.
AO3. I just made like a little
I thought you were gonna say A-OK.
A-OK.
Okay. I'm trying to use my fingers to make
Sign
letters.
language, what is it? Is it? I don't know sign language well.
I don't know sign language at all.
Okay, here I go. I'm on my account. I'm looking at my works that I have published. 15 published.
Woohoo.
Uh-huh.
Prolific.
Wait,
Uh-huh.
I have one. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is very embarrassing.
No, it's not. This is amazing.
4. This is the worst thing I've ever done. I have written 4 Voltron fan fictions. Do you guys remember
You told me this.
Voltron?
Yes, because I've watched
No.
Voltron with you and with my brother.
Voltron was the worst thing that ever happened to me because
Voltron
it
is an enjoyable cartoon.
quickly, it was amazing. And then
It reminds me of the Dragon Rider cartoon that nobody remembers except for me.
what are you talking about?
No,
I
I
don't know any of
remember.
this.
It was a cartoon and they rode dragons. Okay. It reminded me a lot of Voltron and no one remembers but me.
I'm sorry.
Are you talking about Dragon Tales?
No.
Yeah, Dragon Tales?
Okay.
Or are you talking about like
No.
the How to Train Your Dragon show?
What are you? No.
Okay.
I know what those
Sorry.
are. No, it's like Voltron, but
Okay.
it's dragons.
Well,
Okay. I mean, they don't
good.
turn into like all like
What?
one robot, but like it's the cartoon
What?
style.
One
The like
mega
illustrate-
robot dragon.
What is Voltron?
Oh God, I don't even. You're better off.
It's not
knowing.
entirely
Truly, you're
unlike
better
Power
off.
Rangers.
It's an old cartoon about people who like these space guys who had different robot lions, and then the lions form one mega robot that kills like
It's fun.
bad guys.
Like Transformers.
Yeah, like Transformers.
Like
but then they've rebooted it
Transformers
a couple times.
meets
Okay.
Power Rangers meets
Dragon Riders.
Meets Dragon
meets
Riders.
Dragon Riders that no one remembers. Except for me.
Oh my God.
All right.
Maybe a
what
little
else?
bit of Avatar: The Last Airbender because one of the characters reminds me of Sokka.
Gosh, I should rewatch
In-
that.
In Dragon Riders?
Unrelated.
No.
Oh, in Voltron.
Don't act like you remember Dragon Riders in Voltron.
Yeah, you're
I don't
talking
remember
about
which
Lance.
character. Lance. Yeah, yeah.
God, don't make me talk about Lance. Okay, so the that I have. Okay, did you guys ever read the Fallen Kingdom series?
no.
Yeah, I read the first 3. I have
Oh
them
my
over
God, Carissa, we've got to discuss this later. I have
Okay.
met the author, by the way. I love her.
Of course you have.
there.
But
Wait, is this the same one? Is it Morgan Rhodes?
Morgan Rhodes? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
These freaking books had me by a stranglehold, and I was like, I am not seeing the content that I want on fan fiction websites, so I'm going to write it.
Write it.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
that's where that happened. Anyway,
for it.
And then probably my biggest fan fiction successes have been with Newsies, the Broadway musical.
You really have a
Now's
range
the
of
time to
types of
say.
fiction.
Yes,
You got
I
shows, you
have
got
written.
I'm all about Newsies. We talked about this a little bit because
Many.
we watched Newsies together at your place in college.
Yes,
Yeah.
we did.
And it was a good time. And we wore hats.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was fun. I love Newsies.
So also, I guess 5 Newsies fics. One of my Newsies fics has got really actually pretty popular in the Newsies
Oh.
fandom.
do you want to
no.
tag it? Do you wanna
No,
plug
you
it?
guys cannot read it. You're gonna
Wait,
have
wait,
to
okay.
just search.
what how do you gauge your popularity? Is it reads? What is it called?
Well, usually I go by like kudos. So sometimes, like, if you want to find like the real good shit, you got it. Sorry, can I cuss on this podcast?
Sure.
You
I do.
You can like filter by kudos. So
Mhm.
that's like if you're on AO3. So that's like how many people have liked it.
Oh.
So it's like a like.
Yeah, it's like a like. And then
Okay.
also comments, you can filter by comments and stuff.
Wow.
My most popular fic ever had 484 kudos,
Nice.
69 comments, 35 bookmarks, and 5,682 hits.
Oh my
So
god.
good for me.
Nice.
Girl.
That's
so that was
awesome.
the Newsies one or
Yes, that was my news one. And this one I'm proud of because I actually completed it. It's like a full
Mhm.
story. It's like
Uh-huh.
10 chapters.
uh-huh.
And I was like, that's the end. Now it's over. And people
Yeah.
were like, yay,
Oh
you
my
finished it. Because there are people who were like following along with me as I was
Uh-huh.
writing it.
Yeah.
And that's one of the cool things about fan fiction,
That
I
is
think, is
fun.
because it's almost like reading like old. It's almost like how I
Old, like,
imagine people in like the
serials?
19th century would read serials.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I felt on
Anticipating the next
Wattpad.
chapter.
Exactly. Like, oh, I
Yeah.
can't wait for the next one to come out. Or like
Yeah.
people commenting and like you get to interact with like the author sometimes. I mean, that's a little different, but like
Mhm.
it's like, hey, I love this chapter or whatever. And you
Uh-huh.
get just waiting for the next one.
Did you see the hand symbol I made up? AO3.
I love it.
You have to do this when you do 3. Like you're throwing
Like,
a
yeah.
peace sign. Like you're an anime character winking and throwing a peace sign.
I love it. Cute. But I have since changed my username and deleted some of my other fan fictions just because I'm like, no one can know this was me. But now I'm telling everyone it was me. But at the
Right.
same time, you'll never be able to find them. So
She's being
have
very
fun.
stealthy and not telling us her name, but they're out there.
They're out there.
Mm, in the
Don't
world. You may stumble on
associate
them.
me.
Don't find them.
Please don't
kidding.
find them.
Find them and give her all the
gosh.
kudos. You just won't know that it's her.
No, don't.
Find her on Instagram. Track her down on Instagram like that one person did and comment, oh my god, I love your Voltron fan fiction. We need
Oh
more.
my I'm never writing more Voltron fan fiction ever. Oh, one of the craziest things that ever happened to me because of fan fiction was oh my god, this is actually worse. Why am I bringing this up? But I was in a this is a deep into my Newsies thing and my
Uh-huh.
Broadway thing in general. I had a pretty popular Broadway blog on Tumblr within
Yes.
the Newsies fan them.
Which she somehow kept secret from me, even though I've always been into Broadway
See,
stuff.
all of those words were terrible though, you know, so that's like why I don't advertise it very
You
much.
know, you could have advertised it to me. I would have supported
But
it
now I'm
happily.
telling it on a podcast.
Yeah,
So
to
great,
the
everybody.
public.
Sorry, everyone, that I'm like this. But and there,
No, we're all so happy.
I was in like a little like Newsies like group chat with like these random people from Tumblr that I like kind of met, and one of them, somebody was like, guys, drop your favorite Newsies fix or whatever, and somebody was like, oh, one of my favorites is this, and it was my fix.
Did you tell them it was yours?
Yeah, I messaged them separately and I was like, that was mine, by the way. And
And they were like, oh my God,
yeah,
I'm a
they were like,
celebrity.
what? And I was like, yep, I'm famous.
Yeah.
I'm
No-
among
no
like
biggie.
the 12 people in the Newsies fandom.
You are famous now in a lot of different circles. You are celebrity.
You're minor level
Oh, yeah.
famous in a lot of
Making
ways.
it big,
Yeah, in a
making
lot
it
of-
real big right now.
You're making it mid-level in a lot of different industries. Lord almighty.
You have range.
You have range. Yeah, that's what that means.
I've got to go. I've already revealed way too much.
What we should have done for this episode is like put like the screen over your face or whatever, and then like disguised your voice.
You still can. She's just Lord David Cecil. Is that it?
This
Yeah,
is Lord.
yeah, we
You guys
said
don't
my
know who
name.
this is. It's Lord David Cecil.
Wait, David Cecil. You have no idea who I am.
What did you say? It was like, you have no idea who I am.
Exactly. Make me talk like Bane. Who am I? Anyway,
my
that's
gosh.
about all I'm gonna share about my personal experience. Now we can talk in theory about fan fiction if we'd like.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Whatever.
So
Carissa,
When you're-
if you were going to write a fan fiction, sorry to jump on whatever your point
No,
was,
it's
but
okay.
if you were going to write a fan fiction of something that left you
Mhm.
unsatisfied,
mhm,
what would it be?
the Sisters Grimm.
I'm not even a little bit surprised about that.
Except that I was really satisfied. All the books are so good, but I still want more because I really love every character in those books.
Uh-huh.
I would also put no, here's what I would write. I would write Fablehaven fan fiction, all the middle grade, because there is a character, I'm not gonna say who turns out to be a bad guy, but I still really want him to be with the main character.
Aw.
So I would write fan fiction about that. I
That's
tried looking
exactly
it
what
up once. It doesn't exist. There are like two
No.
fan fictions about it and they're not good. I'm like,
Dang it.
that's what I would write.
Well, that's
rough.
exactly what fan fiction is for,
Yeah.
you know? You're fixing
But also, I would never write fan
Fixing it.
fiction or I would never put fan fiction out there because I'm too scared.
I would 100% do it. The
And
thing
what would
is,
you
I
write
don't
it
have,
about?
like, okay, well, I don't, here's why I won't do it, is because I don't have enough time to do it, because I mean,
Mm.
like, I literally was working on my other book until you got here, and now we're recording 2 podcasts on the same night, so like, I just don't have the time to invest in it.
Yeah.
But if I was gonna do it, and like, high school me should have just done it because I had a little bit of time, but there's this series, it's like it goes middle grade to YA, because you kind of grow with the character. It's the Cat Royale Adventures by Julia Golding. It's historical fiction.
Okay.
And first of all, okay, the Cat Royale books are so good, but there's also like 3 different characters who could be like the most interesting potential love interests. Like the most interesting, but because it starts out and most of the books are middle grade before it goes into YA, we don't
Never
get to
goes
see
there.
any of the potential relationships because they're too young, which makes sense, but I want to see them so bad. Like Cat Royale is this super, super cool, badass chick character. And then there's like 3 different dudes, and you would freaking love these books, Kendall. Like one of them is like the leader of this like English street gang.
Yes.
Like this
I'm in.
gang of
Yes.
kids. Yeah, I know you're in. Exactly. So there's him, and he's like kind of a jerk at the beginning, but he grows and
Oh
gets
my God,
better.
incredible.
I know. And then there's the butcher's son, who's
Wait,
like,
I'm in with that too. Wait, go ahead.
I knew you like it because stability. So I knew you liked
Stability.
it.
He's always gonna have a job.
Amen.
I know.
You can-
And so there's him, and he kind of tries to protect her from the street gangs because she's just out of control, which is why I like her. So she's always in trouble, like with one gang or another, or the police. So I think his name is Sam, but don't quote me on that because I've not read these in a very long time. But he like tries to like protect her like from like the gangs and stuff, and they're besties. He's her best friend. And they're so cute. And so there's him. And then there's this other kid who was this like So this is historical. So it's awful. Like his origin story is sad because he was bought as a slave or whatever, which is obviously not good. But his story is great because he's this like prodigy violinist, and basically he like she like lives in the attic of a theater or whatever, and then they kind of become besties. But he's also like kind of like makes a lot of trouble, but he's so interesting.
What?
And so now they're besties.
I love that one too.
I know. So
I
that's the
love
thing, you're just
prodigal
like,
violinists.
Yeah.
I
I got chills
So
every time.
basically, every three of these, so all three of these like male characters are just like the
Oh my
best potential love interests, and I don't know which one I like the most. And Kat has so much fire with all of them, so you're just like, I need to see how this plays out with every
Well, what
single
happened in the
character.
canon?
Do you want me to ruin it for you?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure in like the 5th book or something, she goes to America. And well, she basically because Butcher Kid
Mhm.
gets like, what's it called, press ganged or whatever,
No.
into working on the ship, and she tries to go save him. And so now they're both going to America, and basically they end up together.
I always wanted to.
I mean,
write a
I
book
think
about
I
that.
haven't finished reading this series because I thought that was the end, but then more books have come out since then.
Wait,
but-
I like that. That's fun.
Yeah,
I mean, any of them seem like it would be fun.
I
though.
know. So
God, this
if
is
I had
This
the
is good.
time to write a fan fiction, and I also went back and reread the series now because it's been a really long time, that's what I would write a fan fiction
Oh
about.
my God, incredible.
I'm putting it
Wow.
out into the universe. If you write the fan fiction
Really
about
good.
that, send me the link.
Yeah.
I will read it.
That's
Anyway,
awesome.
so what about you? I mean, you've already written some.
What
If
would
were
you
gonna
write
one-
fan fiction about?
What that you
well,
hadn't
lately,
written.
I'm rewatching Mayor of Easttown with Haley. Do you guys know what that is?
No.
No.
It's like an HBO show that came out this year. That everyone was like all into on Twitter and stuff. And
Ah.
Kate Winslet won an Emmy
Oh,
for it,
okay.
and Evan Peters won an Emmy for it.
I know of Kate Winslet's name
And-
in existence.
Yeah,
Yes.
And it has some plot points that I was very upset with the first time I watched it.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I like the show, but I was like,
Mhm. Like, I could
And I'm
correct
like,
this.
well, now I'm rewatching it. I'm like, God, I wish I could write a fic about this.
And you're like, wait, I can though.
I
You
can
actually
but I
can.
don't have time.
Yeah, time is the problem. Time is the enemy of creation.
Yeah. I think that one of the, I don't know what the plan is. Can I just say what I'm gonna say, or
Yeah.
is there a strict?
No,
Okay.
go for it.
I think that one of the cool things about fan fiction, like we've kind of sort of talked about already, but it's that a lot of literature is fan fiction already.
Mhm, it's true.
Like Paradise Lost. That's a
Uh-huh.
Bible fan
Mhm.
fiction.
Yes, can we just
or
dude, I have
It's
so much
true.
to say about
You
Paradise
know,
Lost.
that
I
kind
won't
of
get into
thing.
it, but yeah.
but like also even like on a different scale, I recently read not recently, it was like 2 years ago, but during my big Oliver Twist phase, I
remember
read,
your Oliver Twist phase.
I'm still kind of in it.
Yeah, I
Like
know.
I'll always go back to it, you know. I read a book that was like it's called Olivia Twist, and it's
You
like,
told me about this.
oh my God, it's freaking good. But it's
Uh-huh.
basically Dodger and Oliver Twist fan fiction, but
Uh-huh.
like what if Oliver was a girl and
Uh-huh.
like anyway, they're like teens.
Uh-huh.
It's so freaking good.
That is so fun. That sounds amazing.
I emailed
You
the
know
author.
what? Cat Royale is not unlike if Oliver Twist were a girl.
See, I'm into it.
I know.
Wait, but so
But,
are
like-
not all retellings fan fictions?
Exactly. Like the ones we talked
Yes.
about earlier, that's fan
Mhm.
fiction,
It's all
baby.
fan fiction. Someday the books that you can't like totally rip off now, you can rip off in the future when the copyright is over. Is over.
You
We
guys
can
remember
hold out for
everyone
that.
This year
Yeah.
was all excited because the Great Gatsby copyright is over. So people were like,
Yeah.
Oh,
give
is
me
it?
the Gatsby Nick fan fiction now.
Yeah, there was what was it in college? There was, I forget what it was. There was some classic work that I could have sworn it was already out of copyright, but I guess it wasn't, because like all of the theater kids were like, could not wait for this book to be out of copyright because they knew there was going to be like a bunch of plays and musicals and stuff about
Wow.
it. And I wish
Mhm.
I remembered what it was, but everyone was so excited for the copyright to
Yeah.
end.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so fan
yeah, that's a
fiction.
good
It's
point.
just
It does
versatile, like,
exist. in
It is.
It already
literature.
exists. Like people
Yeah.
always kind of, I think there's sort of a stigma, which like I get it because some of it is trash, but
Yeah.
I mean, people do it and it's published all the time.
Yeah. I think the quality of it largely depends on like the purpose behind it. Like if you're just doing it because you're like, listen, I have smutty fantasies about these characters that have to be fulfilled. Perhaps quality is not your primary focus because you're like,
Exactly.
listen, I don't care about the quality. I just care about these two characters.
That's like
being
its
together.
own niche too, you know,
Yeah.
like people go for different things.
Exactly. There's different types of fan fiction. If you're just like, I know I have a great idea to expand this story, well, that's a totally different thing. And then if you do, I don't know, because we don't know a lot of people who openly admit that they write fan fiction for some reason. But like,
Lord
I would
David Cecil.
assume a lot of people who write fan fiction are also writers, as you are.
Mhm.
In which case, it's all just refining your skill. But I'm just
Yeah.
curious.
Mhm.
I'm like, I wonder if there are people who just write fan fiction. And they're like, that's it. I don't want to write any of my own and like stuff. I just exclusively like to write things that are spin-offs from existing.
I think those
stories."
people probably do exist.
Yeah.
I think so.
And their
'cause
stuff
I
is
think-
probably awesome because it's like exclusively what they do.
Well, and I think they there are more people who consume media than who create it. So
Mhm.
Yeah,
it's just a larger group of people
that's
to
true.
pick from, I guess. Does that
That's
make
true.
sense?
I think fan fiction, and maybe the biggest difference between fan fiction and other like wider published books is that fan fiction, I think, is to satisfy something for the writer versus writers who write to be published are trying to write to the readers, like for the readers
that's
to
true.
enjoy the book.
That's a good take because it does kind of come down to like, I wanted to do this, so I'm doing it.
Yeah.
It's very like, I mean,
Nothing
because
rides on
nobody
it.
who writes fan fiction is getting paid for it.
Yeah, no.
No,
Mhm.
it's like purely a labor of love.
Yeah,
It's like you care
exactly.
so much that you're just doing it.
Yeah,
or like you want to
exactly.
see it so badly that you're doing it.
Yeah, you're like,
Yep.
I need to see this, so I'm gonna just do it myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's
Interesting.
something
That's really true.
beautiful about
There
that.
is something beautiful about that.
There
There's definitely a place for fan fiction.
You know
I
what
get
was
why
gonna
there's a
say?
stigma about it, but
Yeah.
yeah.
What?
So weirdly, I don't know if this is actually related, but I think this is what it would be considered. I write fan fiction about my own books.
Yes.
Stuff that is not canon that I would never put in that is totally contradictory, but I
You do
write it
that
out
too?
anyway.
I do that all the time.
I'm
All
so
the
glad I'm not
time.
alone.
Me too, because I'm always like, oh, what if this? And I'll just write the scene.
Mhm.
And then like it's not gonna be in the book. I know
Yeah.
that. But like I just want to do it.
I have like certain characters
I have
that
never done that.
I have zero intention of them ever getting together. But I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
just gonna write it out, see what happens. I'm like, no, I don't like it, but I'm keeping it for me.
Yes. Thank God. Oh my
Gosh.
God.
Oh,
I'm
I
so
have
so I do
never
that.
I have never even had any desire to do that.
Really.
If
I
I,
don't
want to
know
put something in
why.
my book, I just put it in my book.
But it's
Okay,
not
no,
for a
but here's the
book.
thing. Yeah. So here's the thing. This is what I did. I have a lot of like romantic and fluff scenes that have no place in books, in literature. They're boring or there are too many of them. But I want them for me.
Yes.
and a lot of them are not canon. Like there's an event in my book 1 that takes place over the course of like one day, but in my like little fan fictions it's several weeks so that I can go
Aw.
into more things, and it doesn't
That
fit the
is so
timeline at
funny.
all, so it can't be in
Yes.
there. But I want to know
Well,
what would
someday
happen
that's the
if
kind
it
of
could.
content your readers will die for.
Exactly. Like Cassandra
exactly.
Clare posts that all the time. It's like I wrote
Oh,
this
yeah.
from somebody else's perspective. But
Mhm.
I do that all
Oh,
the
guys,
time,
I don't
like
have any of that.
for all the angsty shit that I'm
Uh-huh.
like,
Yes.
this is way too angsty to go in the book.
I
but
just
I
write-
want to see it.
I think what
Yep.
it is I write everything into the book, even all the stuff that doesn't belong there, and then I just like cut the fat. And I
Cut.
just cut all. I
Mhm.
just delete all of it,
Mhm.
and I don't have it anymore because I'm like it
No.
didn't go in the books.
I write this
It.
knowing it's not going to go in the books, saying
Yeah.
this is definitely
I
not good
see.
enough. It has no place in the plot, but I
I've
want it
never
for
done
me.
that before.
I think that doing it sometimes helps me with character because
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I'll be placing them in different situations where I'm like, oh, this is how they would react. And and then I think that it kind of helps me feel like they're more rounded when I'm writing stuff that is for the real story, because
you know
I'll
more
be
about
like,
them.
I know more about them and I know how they respond to things. And I feel
Mhm.
like I know them better.
It comes more
Interesting.
naturally when you have to have them react to something, when you're
Yeah.
like, okay, well, they've reacted to these 6 things this way, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. No, I can definitely see how like as a writer that's great, and then also like if you get published, that's great to have that material. And now I'm sad that I don't have any of that material.
you
How
can
sad.
still do it.
You can start. My
Yeah,
mom
but-
doesn't do any of that either, really.
But the thing is, because I budget all my time for trying to finish the book itself, so then I'm like, I don't have any time to write extra things.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I want to have that stuff too. Now I have to figure out how to like add that into my list of to-do stuff, like
No.
my priorities.
You don't have to do anything. I'm just saying
but
that I do.
want
Yeah.
to. Everyone else is doing it.
This is just always like stuff that I do when I'm like I have my notebook with me and I'm just
Uh-huh.
going, or like I just don't feel like writing in my book. Like I'm having like I don't know what's gonna happen next. So then I'll just, but I want to be writing. So
Just
then I'll
free
just
write
write
it out.
something else
Interesting.
that's random.
I think the closest that I get to that is I will write out conversations, and they sometimes end up in the book and they sometimes don't. But because they're just like conversations with no scene around them, I can't like do anything else with them in the future. They don't make any sense on their own. But I will sometimes write out conversations between characters. And that's it though. Like that's as close as I
I
get.
feel like that's kind of the same.
Yeah, maybe. There's no scene around it, so I could never be like publish it as like fun bonus material, but I sometimes will look back at them and be like, can't wait to find a way to use that conversation. Like I'm just looking for a place to put that dialogue in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
There's a great joke in here somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. You're just kind of like, this is what the characters would do. So you're just doing it and then being like, maybe this will come back. I don't
Maybe
know.
this will come back around. Maybe I'll find a way to put this in at some point. Okay, so I kind of do it, and that was exclusively with dialogue.
But yeah, I have like 3 main couples over the course of my series, and I have documents for them, and it's just a bunch of scenes. They're just me going off and scenarios that would never happen, scenarios that are contradictory to the actual plot, and I just do it for myself. So I don't know if that's narcissistic or what, but
no, that's so
think
fun.
so.
I want to do it.
It's like they're your little friends or your little playthings, honestly. I have like characters that I haven't written any
Puppet Master.
That's
real
what it
story
is.
for, but I just have them
You
and
guys
I just like
both
write
have
random scenes
some
with them.
Puppet Master energy.
Yeah.
I don't think I
Absolutely.
have Puppet Master energy. I get too absorbed. We talked about this before on TSS a lot, where you've got like, you are just naturally a third person writer because you've got Puppet Master energy, and you also tend to write third person, don't you?
It's hard for me to write first person, but I'm doing it more. I'm trying.
Good for you.
Good.
But you've got
Stretching
the
that
third person
muscle.
thing. So maybe it's easier for you guys because you're like slightly more like outside the story. I'm
true.
just like, but that didn't happen. Like it's like if you were to like tell me that I had some, like assuming I had a good memory. I'm going to turn this around because I have a really bad memory. So so you have an okay memory.
Okay.
It's like if I were to suddenly tell you that this huge event in your life happened and you're like, but that didn't happen. That's what it feels like to me. If I were just to write scenes that didn't end up
This
in the
is
book.
because your thing is so blurry because you're like, this is real.
No, this is real. What you're saying didn't happen. You can't just like make up reality.
Oh my God.
I think you're right. It might be because I'm too close. It's the first person thing. The lines are too blurred. I have fully crossed the streams.
Yeah. Wait, sorry. I know this is about fan fiction, but I'm having so much fun just talking about writing.
I know.
What do you want to talk
That's the
about?
whole point. Yeah.
It's literally the
just
point.
Thinking about how like sometimes I'll get very, because when Ash was talking about like her blurred thing,
My blurred lines.
yeah, her blurred lines. I'm like, I had a character, I think I've told Ash this before, but I had a character in a book that I wrote like 2 years ago, and I was so close to him. I felt like he was my BFF. Like I was like, this is my best friend. Like I just was like, oh, hanging out. But I did such horrible things to him that it like made me feel ill sometimes because by nature, like I knew going into it that bad things were going to happen to him. He literally got like sent to prison and like,
oh my God,
all this terrible stuff. But like, as I was writing it, I was like, wait, he's my best friend. And then it like, I don't really have that same sort of thing. Yeah. But like, it just depends on different characters.
About him, like that's good for him. Good things happen for him.
I have.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you
I've
go.
written stuff where like he gets married, and then like stuff where like I don't know.
You're like, see, bestie, I gave you some good things.
Yeah,
too.
he's like my bestie. But then
when I heard a character, I'm like, well, sucks to suck, but that's the way your life is.
I get really excited
that's
about the
your
worst
attitude.
scenes.
yeah.
I'm always like, haha, this is the torture scene that literally happens. There's this in book
See,
8.
She enjoys it.
Okay, in book 8 of my series.
Fun to get the angst in there.
I know. There is this scene that is very criminal minds got kidnapped being tortured kind of vibes.
God.
And I was excited for days to write this scene. I was like, it's gonna be so great. It's gonna be so horrible. And I wrote it out and I was like, this is the best scene I've ever written. I'm like, what does it say about me that I'm really good at writing torture scenes?
Oh my God.
I don't know.
It's amazing.
And that I enjoy them. I wouldn't do it to a real person.
No.
It's because A,
No.
you're a puppet master, and B, you have a second personality, which is Catherine. And she's
That's
just
true.
like thrives on that.
That's
You
true.
can do it because you're third person, but then you said that you also really bonded with that one character. I
Yeah.
was rewriting a sad scene in my Alien book today, and I was literally like, well, I'm completely depressed now. Like fully and completely depressed. I don't even enjoy writing this. Like, see, you can somehow find enjoyment in writing like your like crazy torture scenes. I was just sitting there like, I hate everything, but this is just what happens. Like I can't
It
hide
has
the
to go.
truth. This is
Yeah.
what happened.
Yes.
This fictional story that I created, but my brain's like, we didn't create this. We're
No.
just telling what we're seeing.
Mhm.
That's literally how it feels. I know this
Yeah.
is basic writing stuff, I guess, but like
Yeah.
it's hard to explain to other people sometimes because they're
Mhm.
like, well, why don't you just not do that? And I'm like,
you're
"But
like,
that's what happens.
That's what
though."
happens.
Or like if it's like a
Important to the
character
story.
and like they
Yeah.
will change things about the plot that I didn't see coming.
Yeah, exactly.
And I can't help it. They just do it.
I can't help
As
that she
if I
got
didn't.
kidnapped.
Exactly. Or like, why
exactly.
did he say that? He doesn't know that. And I'm like, I guess he knows
I
that.
guess he knows.
Like-
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. I've tried to tell people. So is this also how it is for you guys? For me, when I write, it's like I'm seeing a movie in my head and I'm just writing out what happens.
Yeah.
I'm literally just transcribing.
I
a
guess
movie.
so.
Every
yeah.
once in a while, it's more like if I'm stumped or if I'm just in a mood for it, I'll just like, have like the little fantasies in your head where you kind of play out the scene and everything. And if it goes really well, I'm like, okay, I have to write it down now because
Yeah.
it's like if I
Mhm.
had just watched a movie and then I had to write the script for it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
like
that's exactly,
sometimes
yeah.
it's not happening live, but it's
I agree.
like,
It's
me
true. When you have like
recollecting it.
writer's block or something, you have to think about it a lot. And then you have to go write down what you remember really fast and hope you can get
Mhm.
back into that vibe of like writing while you're seeing it at the same
Yep.
time.
Absolutely.
So
Okay,
fan
I
fiction,
definitely
yay
thought
or nay
that.
overall? I think we've said yay. Fan fiction is good.
I mean,
think so.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
not
think it
hurting
has its
anyone.
place. I
It's
guess
not
I've heard
hurting anyone.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know that it's like high tier literature, but
Yeah.
I do think that it could
But it's not
make
its
people,
purpose,
it could get people there, and for other people
Yeah.
it's like a fun thing to do. So
Yeah, at the very least, it can be fun to hone your writing skills, but also it's just enjoyable. Like you can satisfy like your own desires for what you wanted to see for a story. You can also satisfy other people's desires. It's just plain fun.
Mhm.
It
It's
is.
fun. Yeah.
And like we mentioned, maybe it's not high tier literature yet, but but also
Yeah.
at the same time, like you don't know what could happen
it's
because
true.
fan fiction gets published all the time.
It does.
Mhm.
It do.
And things that we consider classics are literally fan fiction.
Literally.
Mhm.
What is it? They're Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, even before the Grimm brothers or whatever wrote about it, was already a folk story. I believe it was the
Mhm.
same for Beauty and the Beast. It's just like
Yeah.
even before we got the fairy tales that we know, it was already a story.
Mhm.
And then they like wrote it themselves. By the way, I just
Oral
realized
history fan fiction.
oh, that's exactly right. Oral history fan fiction. That is kind of all it is. I just realized the book that I was writing on Wattpad maybe technically was a fan fiction because it was a Beauty and the Beast retelling.
Yes.
I didn't even realize.
I
Yeah.
love that.
Look at me. I accidentally
just
did
think-
the thing.
I think authors so often it's almost impossible not to be influenced by things that came before you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when you read things or when you watch things, they make their way into your writing anyway. And
Yep.
so I guess fan fiction is really just blatantly
It's just embracing
doing
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's just like we're just not hiding it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. What fun. Do we have
So
anything
much
else we
fun
want
we're
to say
having.
about fan fiction?
Please use responsibly, you know.
Please use responsibly. What would be an example of irresponsibly?
You don't want me to tell you.
Okay.
If you know, you know.
People go crazy, you know.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, what about any weekly writing updates from you two?
I finally finished changing the point of view in my book 3. So I'm
Hooray!
so happy.
That's
It was
amazing.
so grueling for some reason. And
I'm sure.
it's like right now the document is like 500 pages. And so
Uh-huh.
I got to page 300 and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm still so far away.
Oh my
And then I would
God.
like scroll through to find the next scene. I'm like, this is so much closer than I thought it was. I definitely thought there would be like 50 pages between, but there were only 20. So it was like a really long process, but I finished. And I think that's why I came out of my reading slump because then my brain was free to do other things. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
it was
Nice.
nice. I'm now in between projects, but
Oh,
I'm-
that's
I'm
not a bad
good.
place to
Yeah, that's
be.
fun.
Yeah.
That's where you get
I
to
feel like
brainstorm.
I've pretty much been in a project I'm always in a project. I can't
Yeah.
remember the last time I've
I
been
mean,
in a
I prefer
project.
being in a project because
Yeah.
it's my whole personality. But
That's true. I want to start my new project now, but I'm
Mm.
always stuck in the middle of an old project.
Yeah.
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 But for November, which is coming up soon, I do want to do NaNoWriMo, and then I will get to
Okay.
work on my book.
so here's what I've decided. I realized that in planning for it, I was really stressing myself out with the word count thing. So I don't think I'm going to do count. I think what I'm going to do is, now that I'm done with that edit through,
Mhm.
I'm just going to force myself to focus on a different book. And I'm not necessarily going to give myself any word count or chapter goals. I'm just going
Nice.
to commit to that book only and see what
Yeah.
happens, because
I think that's a
otherwise
good
it's
idea.
stressing me out too much.
Yeah.
Good idea.
So
That is a good
that's
idea.
my thing. Yeah.
Nice. That's smart. Yeah. I don't think I'm going to like, if I don't finish the whole book in a month, I'm not going to be like, oh, I failed at NaNoWriMo.
Mhm.
I'm just going to try, and I don't think I'm going to give myself a word count goal either. I think I'm just going to set aside a certain amount of time every day to work on the book, even if I can only work on it for like an hour, which I hate doing because I feel like I really need like 2+ hours or more
really get
to like
into it.
really get into a flow. But I'm just going to try and set aside at least a minimum an hour a day to work on it.
That's really
Yeah.
good.
I'm going to try.
That's actually very good.
Do
We'll
it.
see how it goes.
Are you doing Nano?
I would like to. Here's what's happened with me. I have been writing this like pirate magic French Revolution book for like a year
I
now.
love it.
Yeah.
And I
That
love it
sounds
too,
so
but
good.
There's nothing not to love about this concept.
I love it. I
Got
really
better and
like
better.
it.
Yeah.
My main character is like a person who can like go in other people's dreams. Anyway, I love him.
This gets better and
But,
better the more you say.
Someone
I'm-
messaged me on Instagram today and was like, I dreamed about you. And I'm like, say more. And it was amazing. No, guys, she dreamed that hi Marissa, by the way. I met her at my mermaid retreat, and she was like, so I just dreamed that I was at this like magazine release party and you were this like up and coming author they were featuring, and I was just
What?
introducing people to you. And
That's a
I
good
was like,
dream.
you don't know how much this means to me.
Yeah.
You
Oh my
dreamed about
god,
this.
that's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
so I got
awesome.
that today, and that was right after I'd been working on my really like sad, depressing scene in the book. So I was sitting there like depressed because my characters and I are the exact same person. And then I got that, and I was like, oh my god,
I feel like it was all worth it.
it was all worth it for this. Exactly.
But I've been writing that, and it's taken me way longer than I thought it would. To like, I'm only like 25,000 words maybe, and I've literally been writing it for like a year. But I'm like, listen, Kim, you have other stuff going on. You're
Yeah,
busy.
you are busy.
But I still like want to be further in. But
Yeah.
then I had this like Western idea like a couple weeks ago, and I was
A
writing
new
it.
one?
No, the same one.
Okay.
And I was writing it on Ash's free write actually like
yeah.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I was all into that. And so I was like, maybe I'll do this for NaNoWriMo. But now I'm kind of thinking maybe my goal will be to finish my other book, because I think I could do it. Like if
Yeah.
I really get down to it, I can
Yeah.
finish it.
Yeah.
But I think maybe I'll do that, and then I'll just have something else that I'm like
Nice.
excited for after I'm done. You know?
Fun. Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm also, my goal that is not a NaNoWriMo goal, but I am planning to publish my Aliens book on November 1st. So
Yay. It's so
Yes.
close.
I know it is. Should I reveal the title now? Like it's going to be like
Do
a
you
week
have one?
away. I think it's going to be less. When this
Yes.
episode comes out, it's just going to be a few days away.
You should do it.
Reveal it.
Okay. It is called Space Aliens, Southerners, and Saving the World.
Nice.
Incredible.
So,
I love
It's
it.
pretty damn funny if I do.
I
if
love
do say
alliteration.
I
so.
read it last year.
you.
It's very funny.
Yeah, I was still laughing at the jokes that I wrote. So it is very funny. It's like a contemporary science fiction.
Yeah.
It has strong chick flick vibes mixed with
But
science,
aliens.
but aliens and Texas and lots of comedy. I don't know how it all works together.
Lots
But
of
it's very funny.
Whataburger.
Also, Whataburger is in it. Yeah,
Yeah.
lots of Whataburger influence.
There is.
There is.
Is it
And
really
we
just a
talk about-
Whataburger fan fiction?
It
It
is.
is a
Yeah.
Whataburger.
Oh, it's a fan fiction?
It's a Whataburger fan fiction. Actually, it's just a straight up Texas fan fiction. Yeah, no. Anyway, so that's gonna hopefully all things keep going the way they're going. Come out November 1st. I've got the cover. It's all set to go. I only have 40 more pages to edit, like I said earlier. So And I still think it's funny. I still like it. And like I mentioned in the last episode, because we're going to do an episode all about self-publishing coming up here soon. But the reason I'm choosing to self-publish this one is because I did query it out. I sent out about like 50 queries for it. And I know the query letter was good this time because I've done enough that I'm like, okay, this is at least like a reasonably good query letter, which is saying something for query letters. And all of the responses I got were a very like non-specific, no, thank you.
Yeah.
I was like, got it. Okay, it's just too weird. It's just too weird to get an agent. So I'm going to publish it myself. And so it'll be out there for all of your enjoyment.
It's gonna be great.
And then after that, and I'm excited because then that means I can finally be done with that. It's out there and I can work on my new book.
Yeah,
Which I think actually does have a lot of market
I'm
potential.
so excited for your new book.
My alien book.
Yeah, is it one book or is it a series?
It has the
It's one
potential to be a series. I think it's going to be a series.
Well, you said you were going to be done with it. So are you done with this book in particular, or are you moving on?
Done with this book in particular, and then I'm going to move on to this other. I just want to finish writing this other book that I think has market potential, so that I can actually query it. And then while I'm querying that one, I'll be working on the next book in the Space Alien Settlers and Saving the World series, which is a mouthful now that I'm saying it, but I'm going to stand by it because it took a really long time to pick.
I like it. Long titles can work.
It's exciting stuff, man.
Nice.
Well, if you guys don't already, you should follow us on social media at the Scriptarian Society. You guys, Chris's TikTok is like the
blowing
most
up the author talk world.
Off. She really is.
Yeah, you're just taking off. The TikTok it's entirely Carissa. I think I pop up like every like 12 TikToks. I'll throw a TikTok up there myself, but for the most part, it is all Carissa. It is super funny if you're a writer, if you know anything about writing or reading. It's super funny. So follow us on TikTok there, and follow us on Instagram. You get a lot of the same stuff, plus like writing tips and hacks that Carissa also puts up, which is great. And then check out That Pretentious Book Club for more of Kendall and I, where we also have a TikTok. It's just, it's not as prolific.
That one
as
is mostly
Carissa's.
Ash, and then
that one is primarily me. and our Instagram is pretty fun too. But we have memes that perform very well. Somehow the well thought out and beautifully crafted posts and comedy things that I put up on Instagram get almost no feedback at all. But you guys really like the memes. So if you want to listen to books, go find That Pretentious Book Club wherever you listen to podcasts. If you want to laugh at book stuff, follow us on Instagram and TikTok too. The Scriptarian Society and That Pretentious Book Club are really everything you could want if you are a writer or a reader.
You need nothing
and most
else.
of us are both. This is why we created both for you guys.
On us.
Yeah,
Yes.
be codependent. This is a symbiotic relationship, though.
Yes.
We both have Patreons too. But a fun thing about the Scriptarian Society Patreon, it's basically just a writing group. The writing group part is free to join. So if you want to talk about writing, if you want to talk about fan fiction, let's do it on the Scriptarian Society Patreon, and you don't have to pay any money to do it.
Woo-hoo.
So yeah, hooray.
Thank you guys for having me on.
Thanks
I
for
really
joining
appreciate
us.
it.
Yeah.
I love talking to y'all.
We love talking
come on
to you
and talk
too.
about writing.
So much so that I'm going to talk to you for another like 2 hours after
We're
this.
about to record again.
That Pretentious Book Club.
Oh my god.
We'll make another prank. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Gotta get good and drunk.
You guys
for Lord of the
finished
Flies.
those real fast.
They're quite small, to be honest. They're little plastic cups I got. So ting. Oh, that was a nice sound.
That was nice.
Well, do we have anything else we want to say about this episode? Fan fiction or anything?
No.
Nope. I think that was all I had to say.
Well then, until next week, everybody.
Keep writing.
Keep writing. I knew that one.
We'll see you on the next page.
page.
I was dramatically pausing, okay?
I'm sorry.